All right, guys, welcome back to the Top Corner podcast with Juan and Omar. We are back, end of the week edition, Champions League edition. I think we might start doing these 2 a week now, but yeah, I'm with Omar. How you doing today, man?
Dude, I can't wait for this Champions League. These legs look spicy, especially with certain teams having these injuries. Some teams playing better than others. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, dude, we've been waiting a long time since the Champions League. Last time we saw Champions League game, we are just looking forward to the World Cup. It's been a minute. It always feels like so long from that Champions League break between the group stage and the knockout rounds. But it's finally around the corner and it starts on Valentine's Day of all days, which is pretty funny. But yeah, it's gonna be a packed schedule. But we also have a packed schedule with news. So, you know, new news of the week that we have. First one would be Carlo Ancelotti has been confirmed, quote unquote, to have agreed to terms with Brazil. The first story that rolled out was that Ancelotti was going to finish the season with Madrid and then go ahead and transfer over to the Brazilian team over the summer. Then another story came out that Ancelotti intended to complete his contract with Real Madrid and then go to Brazil in 2024 when his contract ends. And another story came out now that Carlo Ancelotti has not heard anything about the job. So, per The Athletic, some of Ancelotti's entourage have reported that Ancelotti knows nothing about this story and they have denied it. And sources close to the club's Brazilian players have also denied and that an agreement has been reached. So, soccer sometimes have these crazy stories that you don't know what to think sometimes. So it's really up in the air. There's been rumors about Ancelotti possibly being out the door since last season when Madrid got shaky, but then they went on that golden run and won the league, the champions, you know the rest. Omar, what do you think about this story?
It could be something similar to the Ronaldo thing during the World Cup. Is like, oh, Ronaldo accepted a deal to go to Al Nassr. His team, his entourage denies it. He denies it. He's focusing on the World Cup. That might be kind of similar situation. And Ancelotti's like, okay, I'm glad to have this, but right now I want to be with Real Madrid. They're inconsistent in the league currently. They have their Champions League fixtures coming up, a lot to look forward to, and I think this just kind of like, okay, doesn't matter to me right now. I'm focused with this team for this season and the next season, most like possibly.
Yeah, and also you don't want to go out there and say it's true and cause all types of distractions for the team less than a week away. Well, they won't be playing the champions this upcoming round, but weeks away from their first Champions League appearances in the knockout round for the season. So definitely you don't want to have those type of distractions. And you were speaking of Ronaldo, and time to bring Ronaldo back up. Ronaldo scored 4 goals for Al Nassr in a league match this past week, and he also reached the 500 league goals milestone. Cristiano Ronaldo was struggling a bit. He has scored in a previous match before this past 2 weeks, and it's great that he's finally getting in the groove of the Saudi Arabian league, coming in with 4 goals, scoring from everywhere. He scored a penalty, he scored it inside the box, he scored from a rebound. It was great to see, and he looks happy. He's over there making bank. I mean, great to see it, right?
Yeah, exactly what I kind of expected. I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna go over there. Even if he's 38 years old, he's gonna go over there and have fun, be happy, and play football. He's there to just play. I don't think he even cares about where the money's coming from, what the money is. He wants to play football. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench. Wherever he is, I would hope he maybe comes back into one of these bigger clubs to be in the Champions League again. Because I feel like Ronaldo and the Champions League is like a perfect match made in heaven. It's something you can't really keep away and shy away from.
So, what do you think is more likely to happen after this season? For Messi to go over to one of these Saudi Arabian teams, there's been rumors about it, and taking bank and going out, having fun as well, or Ronaldo coming back to Europe. There's been rumors about him going to Newcastle possibly and competing in the Champions League again.
I think it's probably Ronaldo. The guy's too much of a competitor. Like, he still wants to win. He still wants to be the best, even if if maybe not within a reach to be better than he is now. He's 38, getting to the end of his career. Just he's living life, and I applaud him. He's one of the greatest players of all time, and there's no denying that he's a goat of this amazing sport, of the beautiful game.
Yeah, yeah, love to hear it. Ronaldo definitely one of the greatest of all time, and still making history at 38 years old. Just great to see. And speaking of making history, uh, it was pretty funny. Ronaldo, like you said, he's become one of the greatest of all time, and it feels like everybody has tried to replicate his celebrations across all sports, really. And last time we saw it, it was versus Ghana. One of the players there tried to, they hit it against Portugal after scoring against Portugal, and Ronaldo was super pissed about it. But Ruslan Malinovsky from Marseille, Ukrainian player, hit the Sioux on PSG after scoring the game-winning goal. What it ended up being, Marseille ended up being PSG 2-1, and it's just so funny that this celebration has become like such a meme at this point. And they try to hit it on Ronaldo when people are going against Ronaldo. They hit it on Messi when people are going against Messi. It's just become a worldwide meme, and to me, it's the most iconic celebration of all time. And
Hell
it's
yeah.
just hilarious whenever someone hits it to like try to make a point or like show that they're a fan.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. Honestly, if you're not hitting the Sioux, even if you don't even like Ronaldo, the Sioux is iconic. It's never gonna leave football, and even when Ronaldo retires, we're still gonna continue saying it's the Sioux and the what Rashford is doing now of putting the finger to his head, where it started, I think, in the '90s, when it first started doing it. And then speaking of PSG and Messi, of course, there's been a lot of some drama out from the Messi area for the Messi family, and we also have Messi news with him getting injured during that Marseille game, picking up a hamstring strain, and he's questionable. He could be out for the first leg of the Bayern Munich game, right along with Mbappe, which is going to leave Neymar, who's coming back from some muscle discomfort, to possibly play in the first leg.
It's gonna be tough, man. If a player's coming back from injury, it always takes them a minute to get back to usual. Last time we were talking about PSG versus Bayern, we mentioned how it's pretty even with Mbappe and Neymar possibly being out. Messi could carry that weight, especially with Bayern being a little shaky in the German league and just across all competitions, really. Now it's getting the table's turning, and now it's looking really complicated for PSG. I don't know how they're gonna pull it off.
Yeah, and then especially, yeah, it's gonna be tough. And then the other drama is that Messi's brother Matthias, he had some words on I think it was on Instagram Live, where he said Messi was bigger than Barcelona, and without Messi, Barcelona would not be the same club. That if you go see the museum in their stadium, it's just Messi. It's all Messi. And he later apologized about it. I'm sure Lino kind of called him and said, "Hey, what the fuck, bro?" and to apologize. And yeah, he posted the apology on his Instagram Wednesday night. He's sorry that he said what he said on social media. He said he was joking with his son and his friends. So, and it was all about the thing that where he's saying Messi will never go back to Barcelona, and if he does, he wants uh, the kind of like the board to get sacked and to clean house. And they said they'll clean up the garbage at Barcelona.
I mean, he has a point. He has a point there at the end, but the other stuff is pretty wild. I mean, Barcelona has so much history. Cruyff, like Ronaldo phenomenon,
R9.
Ronaldinho. Like when I came to know about Barcelona growing up, it was Ronaldinho's era, like prime Ronaldinho. Come on.
Yeah.
Obviously, Messi is now the all-time star, obviously. But I mean, at that time it was R9, and bro, like Ronaldinho was the face of that franchise of that club for a very long time. Like very, very long time.
And he's still loved by everyone, of course. Like Ronaldinho is, I think he's that guy that he's never gonna be like hated. And now his son is at Barcelona currently on the trial, I believe. So
I
give it
think he
a.
got in. There was news that he got in.
Oh, okay. I saw that was a trial at first. I don't know if he got in or not for the youth camp and the youth squad.
Yeah. And then speaking of Messi, an ESPN article came out, and Messi had been quoted here that he regrets how it went down versus the Netherlands. He claimed that after the game, that Van Gaal had disrespected Argentina with his pregame comments, and obviously we knew what happened. Messi hit the celebration with the ears. Then we
Riquelme.
saw the interview. Que mira, bo, vete para allá. That shit was iconic. But we love to see the dog in players and them really like pull out that demon side. And Messi came out and he said, "I knew what Van Gaal had said, but it happened on the spur of the moment. The goal celebration when he was doing the ears." Messi said in an interview in Paris with Andy Kuznetsov, Perros de la Calle. "I didn't like what I did," said Messi. "I didn't like what happened after. These are moments of nervousness and everything happens very quickly." And that's true. I mean, it's heat of the moment type stuff, a lot of tension. These World Cup matches, dude, is as tense as it gets.
Yeah, and they're full of emotion. Like you're fighting, you're playing for your country, you're playing for the citizens of your country, you're playing for your family, you're playing with the people around you. It's full of emotion, and we saw plenty of it with Argentina throughout the entire World Cup, and it was other countries as well. We saw Portugal, the passion that these countries bring to the World Cup is just what we really thought about, and that's what it just the emotion get the best of you. We all have done it before, lashing out and talking shit. So
Yeah, dude. So yeah, that was pretty much the news of the week here at Top Corner. And like I said, this is our Champions League special Champions League preview here. And I mean, let's get right into it. So first up, we have AC Milan versus Tottenham Hotspurs. This is a very interesting game, and you guys are gonna see like a lot of these matches are very interesting, just because of the shape that these clubs are in. So yeah, starting off, Milan versus Spurs. What do you think of this one, Omar?
dude, this is like Tottenham is looking a little better as of recently, but AC Milan that we talked about in the past pod, big losing streak. They're down. They lost the last three matches after having a big chance to be in the group stage. Big losses to Sassuolo and Lazio. They lost to Inter Milan in February. Now they play Torino today at 2:40 here in a little bit, in a few minutes. So maybe today could be a good bounce back day for them, and they can get some momentum into the Tottenham leg. As Spurs, they just came off, I think, a win against Manchester City with the 1-0 win with the Harry Kane goal, and they're going to look to continue building on top of that.
Yeah, dude. They've been looking shaky too. Like we were clowning them when they blew that 2-0 lead to Manchester City a couple weeks ago. They play Manchester City again this past weekend. They managed to win that game. You know, they're getting momentum and they look good for this game. If you had to pick one, who are you going with?
For just the first leg, it really depends who's at home. I think it's
Milan.
I think it's Milan. Yeah, so just give me a draw. I'm gonna say a 1-1 draw between in the first leg.
Okay. So for me, I have a beef with Milan. My thing is this is my thing. The Rafael Leao is not getting enough minutes. And this same thing happened in the World Cup. Stefano Pioli, their coach, who like this guy is a like, I don't want to say anything bad about. I don't know this guy, but like for you to not play your best players, dude, it's so wicked. Like I just can't put it through my head. The team is in a massive losing streak. They haven't won in 4 games. They scored 2 goals versus Sassuolo when they lost 2-5. And before those 2 goals, the last time they had scored a goal in any type of competition was January 8th in a tie versus Roma. I mean, this is a team that's not only in a bad streak, because that doesn't do it justice. This is a team that's nose diving to the depths of hell right now. And, you know, Tottenham is playing in the Premier League. Call me a Premier League elitist, which want. They're not comparable. Like, if Milan is struggling in Italy, I know like these comparisons sometimes don't come to fruition, but how do you think they're going to match up against a way more talented team? With Spurs, you have just way too many players for them to not come out of here with a win, and they also match up well against Milan because the last 2 matches, Milan versus Spurs, Spurs has been able to win it. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be really interesting. Spurs right now are on a 3-game winning streak after they blew that lead to Manchester City. They beat Fulham 1-0, then they beat Preston 3-0 in the FA Cup, and then they beat Manchester City again 1-0. So they're on a little run right now. I like the upset. I really like it. I like my odds here. Uh, I don't know what the odds are right now. If Tottenham is any type of positive in the money, I'm saying anything plus 130, you need to take the money. You just have to take it. Milan is in a bad spot. I don't think they're gonna do anything different. Uh, you know, their coach Stefano Pioli is tremendo bozo, and if they don't play Rafael out, which I don't think they will, the team is cooked. The team is cooked because that's pretty much their only bright spot when you're looking at the keepers. When you have the defenders, you have Theo Hernandez, but after that, you just have a bunch of bums, including Sergino. That's the biggest bum. Um, you have Brahim Diaz. You have Tonali. He's a pretty good player. Ibrahimovic, like he's more of a meme now, but come on, he's getting washed up. And yeah, like it's Rafael Leao and you don't play him. Look at the fours you have. You have Zlatan, you have Giroud, okay, Rebic, Origi, Leao, Salamakers, Messias, and Roback. Like how's Rafael Leao not starting?
Yeah, you got to start them.
It's a
You got to.
travesty. It's a travesty. I'm taking Tottenham with the upset.
Okay, it's not really upset. I feel like this game odds wise probably gonna be like 50-50 basically.
Yeah,
But
yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe not an upset, but Milan are at home. Like, come on.
yeah,
And
true.
Spurs are Spurs at the end of the day.
Spursy.
Spurs are Spurs. No offense to takes. But
Love you takes.
on to our next game. We have PSG versus Bayern Munich. We touched a bit of how on this matchup. It's going to be really difficult. What do you think of this one, Omar?
I think Bayern is gonna take care of business. It really depends. Is I think this what they have to do for PSG is damage control. Keep yourself in the Champions League tie for over the 2 legs. Keep yourself in it. If you're playing at home for the first leg at least, so maybe you can keep it. If you do lose, you can keep it to like a 1-0. You're not gonna have Mbappe. Messi's questionable. Neymar is just coming back. Your overall squad is relatively weak on the weaker side. Bayern coming off a big win against Wolfsburg where they absolutely destroyed them. They have a kind of a warm up game tomorrow against Bochum. I just don't see PSG really having a chance here.
Man, I really like PSG to take care of business before the Messi injury, but that changes everything. That PSG team is not deep at all. Like you're relying on all your star players to be available for that team to function. You're missing your if you can't have missed more than one of those big three. Neymar, between Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, two of the three have to be available for this team to have a chance. And with Messi and Mbappe out, probably the two most critical ones. Man, they do play at home though. They do play at home, but I just it's gonna be tough. I mean, I did say you could bring Hakimi to do a bit more work in the midfield, get into that attacking game a bit more, but with no Messi, man, how are they gonna attack now? Like it's just Neymar.
Yeah, and their depth in attack is not that great. Like has been solid. Fabian Ruiz is okay. Verratti's not really much of an attacker. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. And in terms of depth, they have not really anyone. Ikitike, I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't really know. He is their like coming off the bench attacker. Dude,
All right, so
injuries are gonna ruin this team for having another chance at the Champions League.
they wanted to run it back, and that sometimes that's what happens. I mean, you're overloaded with talent at the top, but you're thin at the bottom. So,
Yeah.
some fun facts here: PSG are unbeaten in their last 18 home games, but this was with Messi and Mbappe. Keep in mind. Another one: PSG and Bayern Munich have not drawn in any of their last 6 matches against each other.
Wow.
So take the draws out of your possibilities, possibly. For Bayern have not lost in 19 matches at all. Like Bayern have been we rank on Bayern and we talk shit sometimes about Bayern because they play in a farmers league and we expect them to just destroy every team. Since they came back from the World Cup, it has been shaky. But they tied versus Leipzig, they tied versus Cologne, they tied versus Frankfurt. Then they beat the living Pope out of Mainz 4-0, and then they beat up on Wolfsburg 2-4 as well. Before the World Cup, they had look at this. I'm not even gonna mention the names, I'm just gonna mention the wins. 2-0, 6-1, 3-2, 2-0, 6-2, 3-0 versus Barcelona, 2-0, 5-2, 5-0, 4-2. Then they tied. Then another 5-0 victory. Then another 4-0 victory before their loss. Their last loss was versus Augsburg, September 17th, 2022.
That's insane.
And, oof, you're not going to like this one, Omar. Bayern Munich are unbeaten in their last 10 away games.
Yeah. I got Bayern winning this first leg for sure, and I like as soon as all these injuries are going on. Even I think that, like I said, the only way if PSG will win these two legs over Bayern Munich is if they keep it close in the first leg. Hopefully, Mbappe is fit enough to come back for the second leg, and he fucking dominates. That's the only way.
Hopefully, yeah. You're betting on the second leg. Park the bus the first leg. Hopefully, minimize the damage. A tie would be best case scenario, possibly 1-0 down. But yeah, dude, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna take Bayern Munich 1-0. Bayern Munich.
I'll say Bayern Munich 1-0 as well. I was gonna say either that or 2-0.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like really gritty. Like, it's probably gonna be PSG are gonna try to make their money in their midfield and pretty much just dirtying up the midfield. Not dirtying up as like in playing dirty, just dirtying it up as like not letting them play.
Yeah, make sure their attack is going through mud.
Yeah. So all right, that's gonna be PSG versus Bayern. Next up, we have Borussia Dortmund versus Chelsea. Another really interesting matchup just because of the state that these two teams are in. Borussia Dortmund are going on a monster run right now. They have won their last five at least. Well, actually, Borussia Dortmund have not lost in 7 matches, and they've won their last 7 matches. So they're in incredible form. And for Chelsea, they're allergic to scoring goals. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, these two teams currently are polar opposites in terms of form. Chelsea, disappointing. Brought all this talent. They've still been disappointing. Dortmund have all the talent, and they're destroying. We saw Dortmund; they came off their win in the DFB Pokal, bulk against Bochum 2-1. They destroyed Freiburg 5-1, beat Leverkusen 2-0. They're just having a fun time. While Chelsea are drawing against teams like Fulham and Liverpool, who are also having a disappointing season. Um, they have a game tomorrow against West Ham, against my English team. They have a chance. They're playing on the road though in London Stadium. Maybe, like I said, it just takes that one game. Like boom, you take a nice little win. Like okay, we know how to win. We can play this type of football and get dubs, and that's all it really takes. Especially this first leg is in Dortmund, so they're gonna go against the yellow wall. Those fans are rowdy in Germany.
Dude, yeah, Borussia Dortmund playing at home, it's a really tough leg because this is the thing. Like you said, they're rowdy over there. And if the crowd shuts down Chelsea, like you're talking about, like them starting to whistle and like get loud every time they get the ball, and then Chelsea starts losing those footballs in the midfield, if the fans start catching on to that, it could get out of hand quickly because Borussia Dortmund, they just have so much speed and playmaking. The heart of it all being Jude Bellingham. I mean, the guy's just a complete monster. And when you're looking at their squad, they're just really complete. I really like their attack. At the end of the day, with Gio Reyna, I think he has the biggest ceiling out of anything there. But Mukoko, I also like him. But Gio Reyna, they said that he's not at 100% yet. But I would love to see him get more minutes. He's come up as a sub twice or two or three times now and scored twice in big moments with some incredible goals. Borussia Dortmund can really bring the pressure, and the way they make their money, in my opinion, is in the midfield. That midfield, starting with Jude Bellingham, is just dominant, and Marco Reus is not a bad player either.
Yeah, Marco Reus, he's still timeless. He's been having a great season, and what Borussia Dortmund have for this leg is they do have depth. If someone's having a disappointing day, let's say Mukoko's having a disappointing day up front, Gio Reyna can come in. If Jude Bellingham's not having the day, Bino Gittins could come in the midfield and help out. They have the guys. Rafael Guerrero coming off a 3-assist game against Freiburg. They just have playmakers all over. And my favorite player on this team is definitely Karim Adeyemi, the German who's currently 21 years old. Love him and his talent.
Yeah, dude. And as far as Chelsea goes, I mean, a lot of people are hyped up about Enzo Fernandez, and I know the name is big, right? The brand of his name is big right now. The number of the buyout from Benfica was huge, but I I don't think he's gonna be bad. I just don't think he's gonna be a needle moving player or like so soon. You feel me? I feel like he's gonna have a little bit of time to get adjusted, and he's great at playing that kind of center midfielder role to the part where he helps out the defense and he can help get a loose ball or a 50-50 ball in the air, things like that, or 50-50 ball challenge on the ground. He's great at that. But as
Mm-hmm.
far as like being a true playmaker, I think we need to give him a little bit more time.
Yeah. Oh, but the really good thing about Enzo Fernandez, he's been really good in the Champions League. When he was with Benfica, I don't know if it will translate with Chelsea. Different team, different system, different pillars around them, very different scenario. But he was very good and very vital to Benfica's group winning run over PSG in that time. So this could be interesting. Maybe Chelsea could squeak out if I think if the game if the two legs are ugly football, Chelsea have a chance to maybe squeak out a one goal advantage somewhere.
Yeah. Do you think this is a test of seeing if Borussia Dortmund is really that good or if Chelsea is really that bad?
It could be both because if Dortmund comes in here and just drops bombs on Chelsea's team, it could be a testament of both that Dortmund like here to not fuck around, while Chelsea's just still looking for any sort of identity.
I think this is gonna prove more that Borussia Dortmund are for real. I think Chelsea are gonna play a great defensive game, and the midfield is gonna be bully ball. But I feel like Borussia Dortmund just has too much firepower in the end, and they're just gonna choke them out. In the midfield, that combination between Jude Bellingham, Marco Rose. If it's not Brandt, it's Mukoko, or you have Gio Reyna coming off the bench. I really like Dortmund, and I think this is going to prove that they're for real. It's going to also prove that Chelsea's defense takes a lot of effort to break, but I have Borussia Dortmund taking the win 2-1.
Oh, okay. I have Dortmund just coming in on the first leg and just destroying house, getting that crowd fired up, chanting, yelling, having fun. Give me a 3-0 win for Dortmund at home.
Damn. All right. Damn, you really don't believe in Chelsea and your boy Enzo.
I love Enzo, man, but that entire team is not all that great.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change mine. I'm keeping the 2 goals for Borussia Dortmund. I'm just gonna take away the goal for Chelsea. I don't think they can score. I like when I was saying the two, I'm like 2-1. Like who's gonna score? I don't think they can score. So give me a 2-0
If they do score, it's gonna be off Thiago Silva's head.
off a corner, and it's not gonna go off like right away. The keeper is gonna save it. It's like there's gonna be a dead ball. Someone's gonna kick it, and it's gonna get blocked again. And like Thiago Silva is just gonna like
Yeah, just like toe poke it in.
just poke it in somehow. All right, so let's go on to our next game. We have Club Bruges versus Benfica. But here could be our dark horses of the Champions League. Omar, what do you think of this one?
So Benfica, they're coming in. They just lost Enzo Fernandez, like we were talking about being a big part of their current run. And I've seen some Benfica fans say that Enzo Fernandez, even as good as he is, him leaving and not being there still won't be a big hindrance to them. Which I probably kind of disagree with that. They lost one of the best players. It's like, how is this the guy not going to affect? Especially right now, they have John Mario and Gonzalo Ramos, both balling as strikers with 12 goals each and five assists combined in terms of goal scoring. So they do have firepower. But Club Brugge, they're kind of an under the radar type team in the Belgian league. They've been struggling in league wise, but they had a pretty strong Champions League group. They have some pretty fun players such as Van Housen that we are talking about, Vanek, my bad, before the pod, and they also have a Spanish guy named Jukla who's having 10 goals, 6 assists, four of those goal contributions coming from in the Champions League. So could be a fun tie if Club Brugge can bring their A game.
Yeah, dude. I don't know much about Club Bruges. I'm gonna be honest. I don't keep up with the Belgian league that much, but this could be a test for how much Benfica is gonna miss Enzo Fernandez. I think they're gonna be all right because Joao Mario is an animal right now. With he has 12 goals, tied with Gonzalo Ramos as well. Rafa Silva is now the third goal scorer with 6 goals, and they're at top of their league right now. They are in great form even after losing Enzo Fernandez. They won 2 games since, and they lost actually. Well, they tied versus Braga, but ended up losing in penalties 5-4 in the Portugal Cup. But Benfica's playing great. However, here at Top Corner Podcast, we love an underdog story. And you guys remember Ajax in 2019 or 2018, 2019, like that run was pretty crazy. Who's to say, like I always love stories like that. And you mentioned, Omar, that Club Bruges has some fun players. You mentioned Ferran Jukla. They also have Andreas Skov Olsen with 7 goals and Hans Vanaken with 7 goals. Hans, he's a midfielder. Right now, you said they were struggling. I mean, they're in European contention in the Belgian league. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're pretty far behind from first place, but they're in European contention. And who knows? A lot of these teams sometimes, when they see that they can't compete for the league no more, they put all their cards into a cup, into the cup. We saw it with Newcastle going all in for the, was it the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup?
Carabao.
Carabao Cup. They went all in for that. Who's to say, mate? Club Bruges, they really have nothing to lose, and they're starting at home. First game of the knockout stage. That means Benfica really like doesn't have much of a clue of what your game plan is going to be on a do or die game like this. Because if Club Bruges loses at home, I think Benfica is going to take care of business in the second leg. But
Yeah.
I hope it's a high scoring game at least. Right now, the odds are heavily in the favor of Benfica. Most of the bets, most of the money right now, 71% is on Benfica. Like, very few people believe in Club Bruges. I hope for a fun game, but I'm gonna take Benfica to win. But I would be very happy if Club Bruges can pull out the upset.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Club Brugge is starting out at home for the first leg, but I'm gonna go with the odds, the heavy odds. I think Benfica just gonna take care of business. Maybe first leg would be close. Give me a 2-1 win for the first leg for Benfica.
All right. I love that you say that because I do have some fun facts for you, Omar. Did you know that Club Bruges haven't lost in 5 matches?
Ooh,
But there's a twist to that. What do you think it is?
I don't know. That they're
Well,
all draws. That it is during the last 5 games. Oh, but we haven't lost.
they haven't lost in 5 matches, but they haven't won at home in their last 5 matches.
Mm.
So that's why I ended up taking Benfica uh, with the win. I think Benfica are going to come out angry. Champions League, they know the lights are on them. They're here to prove a point. Who knows? I hope, like I said, I hope for the upset, but don't be surprised if maybe, like, it gets a little ugly.
Yeah,
But
especially that their defense is with Nicolas Otamendi, World Cup winner. Alex Grimaldo with 6 assists, having a great season. They have the young gun Antonio Silva, 19 years old, in there as well. A very good mix of veteran and young players on this Benfica team.
yeah, dude. And people are forgetting Benfica was really giving trouble to teams in the group stage this same year, but the past year, you feel me?
Mm-hmm. Benfica have always been that team that you really don't want to play in the Champions League because they always are super finicky, grindy. They'll grind you down. And especially they had a draw against 2 draws against PSG in the group stage, both 1-1 in their own stadium and in Paris. So you never know, man.
Yeah, dude. I remember betting on PSG to win those games, and Benfica lost me money.
Hey, hold that there.
That's what I get for going with the favorites. But all right, move on. But yeah, guys, that was our Champions League recap and predictions. Pretty well, not recap. That was our preview and predictions. I think we made a prediction for every single game. We might have missed one. I think we did one for every single
No,
game.
I think we got it for every game.
All right, perfect. But yeah, starting off, it's only 4 games for the Champions League this first week, but next week we'll have more games. Real Madrid will start playing. It's gonna be great. But we're gonna move on to the Europa League now. We love the Europa League here. We have a lot of memes about the Europa League, but we love the Europa League here at Top Corner Podcast. We have a lot of great games, man. We have Ajax versus Union Berlin, Barcelona versus Man U, Salzburg versus Roma, Leverkusen versus Monaco, Sevilla versus PSV. I mean, there's great games here. Like, if you're not one of those fans that just cares about the top 5 teams in the world, then you'll find a lot of great entertainment. Because I feel like in these games where I guess you could say the level of talent and level of competition is not as high, quote unquote, they're still incredible players. I think the games are more open in a way.
Yeah, and then this, and as well, including with those teams, we have Fenerbahce from Turkey, Arsenal, who are currently the league leaders in England. You have Real Sociedad, who are having a beautiful season in La Liga right now. Feyenoord from the Netherlands. Freiburg, another great team, Germany. Just so much talent currently in this Europa League season.
Yeah, dude. I remember it was what, a decade back where the Europa League teams were still really good, but they weren't as good as they are today. The competition overall in football is increasing at a very high rate, and teams, there's more good teams than there had ever been before across
Yeah,
all leagues in Europe,
yeah,
in South America, Asia, Africa, you name it.
yeah. And what I want to continue though is the closeness in leagues. We saw in Germany, we've seen that kind of transition that the Bundesliga is kind of changing. We're seeing these Dortmund getting back up to where they want. Union Berlin is fighting for the title. Freiburg, Frankfurt, all these teams are right there in that top six, battling with Bayern. In Italy, it's always been a little bit of a toss up. We had that little era for Juventus, but they kind of fell off, and now it's kind of like a bloodbath. I guess we're entering the Napoli era maybe now with them having a huge lead. La Liga, it's always been between Real and Barca. We with Atletico there, but we've always had the little brothers in Villarreal, Valencia, Sevilla that were just super annoying in the league. And then the Premier League, we had the time with City and and Liverpool for a bit, but now that's kind of dying down. We have Newcastle punching up. We have Brighton in sixth place right now. Hopefully, this it just continues to congest closer and closer in all these main leagues and all the rest of the leagues in the world.
Yeah, dude. Because that way, I remember a lot of people were getting depressed after, not depressed, but they're sad about the World Cup ending and people going back to club football. Club football is great. Like if you really go, if you don't only focus on the top five, sometimes the top five best teams play some of the most boring games a lot of times because one, they're playing the most matches. They're in the country cup. They're in their league. They're in either and then they're in European competition and like one or two more tournaments. So they're playing a lot of games and a lot of times they're playing more not to lose than to take risks and win. You feel me?
Yeah, and especially that I keep an eye on like the Liga Portugal. I keep an eye on the Argentinian Primera División también. And it's I love these smaller leagues. I love the Portuguese league. Like a lot of talent comes out of there that we've seen, especially from Benfica, Sporting as well. Yeah, Braga, Porto. Like these leagues, man, they're fun.
And before we get into the Europa League, one last thing, piggybacking off what you said about Portugal, a lot of the South Americans' best players, they go to Portugal first to prove themselves before they go to England or they go to Spain or they go to Italy. So it's kind of like that first big stepping stone into European football for South American footballers. So great to see, man. But yeah, let's get back here to the Europa League. We are going to start with one of our favorite teams, Union Berlin from the Bundesliga, is going up against Ajax from the Netherlands. Ajax is at home. What do you got on us?
So Ajax, Union Berlin, like we were talking about earlier, they've been impressing us throughout the entire Bundesliga season. I believe what they're currently second place, if I'm not mistaken. Currently, I think 1 point behind or 2 points
Yeah,
behind
they are 1 point
league leader.
behind Bayern Munich.
Yeah, they've been having incredible, and they were in the lead for a little bit before the Wolfsburg Bayern game. So they continue to impress. They continue to have fun, and I'm excited for what this like can bring. I don't know much about Ajax and their players anymore, so I would definitely have to go a little more in depth and trying to figure them out. But they've always been historically well. They had a nice little run until for the semifinal. They could have made the final if they didn't choke away, but their better players are Dusan Tadic, who's been an assist machine with 11 in the Eredivisie. They have Steven Bergwijn, who played for the Netherlands in the World Cup. Edson Alvarez, one of the promising Mexican stars. And yeah, they have a solid squad. Brian Bobby, one of the young Dutch strikers, looking to prove himself. He has 10 goals in the season.
Yeah, he's their top goal scorer right now. So
So yeah,
definitely, it's not
having a
it's not gonna
great
be an
time.
easy matchup for. It's not gonna be an easy matchup for Union Berlin by any means. But I love Union Berlin in this game. In the Europa League and the Champions League is where we get a lot more eyes on these clubs from the Netherlands or Germany or Portugal or still European football, but smaller countries. I think we're gonna see a lot of Union Berlin players going to the spotlight. Geraldo Becker, Danilo Duecki, they have a lot of talent. Their top assist man, Christopher Trimmel. They have a lot of guys that I like, and there's a reason they are 1 point behind Bayern Munich, a team Bayern Munich that is usually 10, 20 points ahead of their next person and just stomping on opposition. Union Berlin is right there with them. There's a reason for that. And I love Union Berlin in this matchup. They're a pretty decent underdog right now. 57% of the public is on Ajax to win this outright.
Yeah, it's kind of probably the popular, but dude, I love upsets. I love my boys in Union Berlin. Give me a draw for them in Ajax's stadium.
All right. So we kind of here we have unstoppable force meets unmovable object. Ajax have not lost in 12 matches and they're unbeaten in 5 home games. Union Berlin haven't lost in 11 matches and have won their last 11 matches. So, unlike Club Bruges, that they were unbeaten but they couldn't win, Union Berlin is here taking W after W after W, and people are not taking notice.
Yeah. And especially this is the first ever meeting between these two clubs. They don't have any history behind between them. And Ajax are currently unbeaten in their last 4 games against the German sides. They drew twice against Bayern in 2018 and 2019, and then beat Borussia Dortmund twice in the 21-2022 season. So they have a good record against the German clubs, and maybe over a tie they can get the best of Union Berlin. But I really want Union Berlin to impress.
Yeah, from the 12:45 slate, a lot of people are looking at Barcelona Man U, but and you should. It's going to be an incredible game. But if you're the type of person like myself that likes to watch 2 games at the same time, put one on the TV, put one on the computer, put the Barcelona Man United one on the TV, of course. But put the Ajax versus Union Berlin one on your computer. You're not gonna regret it. Union Berlin is one of the most fun teams to watch. We cover the Bundesliga Top Corner podcast, and Union Berlin is one of our favorite teams.
Yeah, and of course they have one of American players, Jordan Peacock, who's having a pretty good season for them as well with 8 goal contributions. So hopefully he continues to impress.
Yeah, dude. Awesome. So moving on to our next match, we have Barcelona versus Manchester United. For Europa League, this is the game that everybody's been waiting for months, especially in the last month, because both of these teams have just gotten red hot at the exact time. It seems like Barcelona have just been a wagon recently, and Manchester United just can't be stopped, led by Marcus Rashford. Omar, you're a Barcelona specialist, insider, reporter, writer, reporter. What do you have for us here?
Yeah, like change my name in my name tag, and I put Omar Sickle, the Barcelona specialist, port reporter, whatever you want to call me. But yeah, this is gonna be a tough 2 games for Barcelona. Yes, we've been red hot in the league. Yes, we've been playing good football, but we can't ignore what Eric Ten Hag has done with Man United. They continue to impress me day after day, game after game. And this is literally if you told people 5 years ago that Barcelona and Manchester United were facing off in the round of 32 of the Europa League, people would have called you insane. This is two massive clubs, big history between them, and in terms of club history. They've won Champions Leagues, they've won competitions all over the place. And I will let the bias get to me. Of course. Barcelona starting out at home for the first leg. Give us a 2-1 victory at home.
All right. So Barcelona have not lost in 15 matches. They're on an insane run. Last year, I was clowning Barcelona a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, because Xavi was way too focused on what Real Madrid was doing and criticizing Real Madrid, and he kept telling the Barca fans, I don't like, yeah, they're winning, but we're playing pretty football and this and that and tiki taka and all this fucking bullshit. It's like, dude, just win the fucking games. Like, you don't win games by having pretty possessions and cool plays that end up in nothing. Goals win games. How you score them, it doesn't matter, dog. You could score with your left 50 yards out. You could score it from a header. You could score it with your ass for all. Like, if you get that goal in the net and it's not outside and it's not a foul, it's gonna count. And if you get more goals than the other team, guess what? What happens, Omar?
I think you win. I think that's
You
what's called.
win the game. Holy fuck! What a so Barcelona this year, they've come out and they look completely reborn in their philosophy. Yes, they still want to get possession and they're still playing touch football, but they're using the lanes way more, getting down the side, using speed. They're firing shots from outside the box way more. They're trying to get into the aerial game a bit more. You have Robert Lewandowski for God says you have to. They're getting very dynamic, and also when they're inside the box, they're not starting to get one touch here, one touch there, bring it back, try to get inside the box again, bring it back, try to find the open space. Nah, you get inside the box, you get in there with speed, and you shoot. If so, maybe the goalkeeper saves it, maybe the goalkeeper saves it, you get a rebound, and your teammate can get it in. Maybe you just get a good angle and you score it from there. You have to take your chances, and Barcelona have done that. They look aggressive, they're gritty, and I love this team. But on the other hand, we have Manchester United. I mean, Omar, you've seen how good Manchester United is.
Yeah, dude, and it's scary, honestly. And even with Rafinha in form, Dembele is on fire, Lewandowski is him, Gavi and Pedri and Busquets. Busquets injured, I think. I don't know if he may play the first leg. I haven't seen an update on him in a little bit. I'll have to check it out if I find anything. But Pedri, Gavi, De Jong in the middle have been great. Our defense has been rock solid. Araujo is one of the best defenders in the world right now. It's just I'm loving the way we're playing. I hope Alejandro Balde continues to play at left back for us instead of Danny Alves, even though, not Danny Alves, Jordi Alba. But yeah, I love it. And Ter Stegen, he's had amazing comebacks after amazing comebacks. His hairline came back, and his ability to play goalkeeper has come back, and I love it.
Yeah, dude. Ter Stegen is a great goalkeeper. There's been the arguments been brewing up for a little bit now that Ter Stegen is the better goalkeeper than Manuel Neuer. It's a bold take because we all know Manuel Neuer is a legend, but
I mean, it's easier not to say with Manuel Neuer breaking his leg, going on a skiing trip right after the World Cup. It's I we That's not an injury. You really come back full injury, full like recovery, especially at his age. I think he doesn't even get back a starting job at Bayern. But that's a topic for another day.
yeah. But going back to it, I mean, Manchester United are on an incredible streak right now, and the backbone of it all is Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is having an incredible Premier League. He's on an insane run, and he's the main reason, along with Eric Ten Hag, who a lot of his strategies have proven kind of genius. I don't know if you saw, Omar, but Eric Ten Hag, he sent Sancho over to the Netherlands to strictly train in the middle of the season since I think October, and he came back this January. He just made his first appearance. I think if it was in this last game, it was the previous one, and we're gonna see maybe Sancho's much better improved. But September 17th was his last start. I mean his last appearance, and after that, Ten Hag sent him out.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna see. I love the United. They have good depth. They have a good team. Um, it's upsetting for them though because they did finish second in their group. I forget who they finished behind, but they did finish second in their group. That's the only reason why they're here in the round of 32 instead of waiting in the round of 16. Um, oh, they finished behind Real Sociedad. That's why. They only were behind on goal difference by one, so that's the only reason why they're behind. But dude, this is gonna be insane.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great matchup. As far as predictions go, I don't know who to take, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Who are you gonna curse?
I'm not a curse. I think I've been pretty on point with my predictions. I mean, I almost aced the Bundesliga last weekend, except for that Bayern match. I thought Wolfsburg was gonna get a tie. Uh, I'm gonna go with Barcelona, 2-1. It's gonna be a great match, back and forth. Uh, Man United scores first, Barcelona scores before the half ends, and then around the 70th minute, they get the winner.
Okay, interesting. I like where your head's at, I guess.
We'll see.
But
I'm putting money on it.
okay, we can see the bet slip later. With the next game, we'll head towards Germany. RB Salzburg going up against Roma. Roma, they've been pretty solid, but we said, they kind of forgot to score, but they're kind of being carried by Paulo Dybala with his 13 goal contribution, 7 goals, 6 assists in the Serie A. Tammy Abraham's finding his groove a little bit. Salzburg, they have some young, fun players. I know Okafor and Adamu from Austria, and Benjamin Sheshko. How do you think this leg's going to go out?
So I don't know much about Salzburg. They're an Austrian team, and they're first right now in the Bundesliga Austria. 12 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss, 39 points. How good is this league? I have no idea. 33 goals for, 9 goals against. Some fun facts about this match. Wow, I don't have any. Besides this one, Tammy Abraham is one of the biggest worries I have for Roma. He's People clown on Darwin Nunez. Tammy Abraham might be the Darwin Nunez of Italy. Uh, this man so far, he has 3 assists, 6 goals, but recently just showing very, very bad form. And he's had chances to give Roma some goals and help them out, possibly compete a little bit more for with some of these draws and losses that they've had that have been really disappointing, especially versus Cremonese in the Coppa Italia, a game where Tammy Abraham had a clear shot to possibly have a goal that would have helped them tie this game. But
Yeah,
when it comes down to it, I have to go with I'd rather take the devil I know than the devil I don't. So I'm gonna go with Roma. As much as I wouldn't like it, Salzburg is at home. I'm gonna go with Roma because it's a team I'm more familiar with. And even though they're not in good form, I know what to expect. I don't know how Salzburg is gonna look outside of Austria.
yeah. Salzburg, they kind of controlled the Australian league. I'm pretty sure. Austrian league, my fault. But the way Roma has been with how defensive they kind of are, I would think it's gonna be a 0-0 win, a 0-0 draw. I don't know, I keep fucking up. 0-0 draw in Salzburg Stadium, and then they'll probably flip around and pick up a win at their house in Roma. So
Okay.
let's kind of see how this leg's going. I do like Salzburg. They do have some young talent. I love Benjamin Sheshko. He's only 19 years old. 7 goal contributions, 5 goals, 2 assists as a forward. So maybe this young talent can maybe push them over the edge against Roma with their prowess, but we will see. But in terms of talent and these two teams combined, compared to other teams, they're probably not going to get far.
Yeah, probably not either one is gonna make much noise. But as far as this first matchup goes, I do think Roma is gonna at least get some of their dignity back and get a good win. But all right, and then that was our preview for that one. We move on to the next game. We have Shakhtar versus Rennes. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys here, man. I don't know much about this one.
Yeah, Rennes and Shakhtar. Shakhtar just losing Mikhailo Mudryk, of course. His big money move to Chelsea. So they're just trying to maybe hopefully continue to what they do in the Ukrainian league. They're currently second with 30 points, 9 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss, undefeated at home currently, and only 1 loss on the road. Yeah, they kind of lived off the back of Modric for most of their season. He had 13 goal contributions, 7 goals, 6 assists. So I'm not sure how they're gonna kind of move on from kind of getting away from okay, we can't just rely on Modric, take ball, go score, or go assist anymore. So I don't see it, but then Rennes, I don't know much about Rennes in the French league. They've been I don't know how they've been doing. I don't really keep up with the French league. So what do you got on these teams if you know anything?
Yeah, dude, that's pretty much all I had. So as far as predictions go, we're just gonna jump straight into it. Uh, I had said it in the last game. I rather take the devil I know than the devil I don't. Here, no, I don't know either one, but I do know Shakhtar. And growing up, Shakhtar was just the team that players would go to before retiring or before going to the MLS, just as one last shot at European football. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Shakhtar here. Um, I don't feel great about it, but they're at home.
All right, that you just because they're at home.
Yep. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Now
All
with
right.
with
Oh,
things with teams we're
hold
a bit
up,
more
damn,
familiar with.
getting rid of my.
What?
How about my prediction, bitch?
Oh
My
yeah, I
prediction.
forgot. I thought you had one already. All right, go ahead.
No, I just said how they're. Rennes currently fifth place in League One. They kind of had some unfortunate games. Currently on, if my thing wants to load. They currently have a Terrier with 13 goal contributions, 40 points in the league. Give me just Rennes to just kind of take care of business in both legs. Give me a
Okay.
2-0 win at Shakhtar, and then they'll take care of business the rest of the time.
Okay. All right, Omar, I see you. All right, so we move on to our next game. We have Bayern Leverkusen versus Monaco. This is an interesting one. What do you got for this one, Omar?
Monaco, third place in League One. They've been sometimes better, sometimes worse. They have an upcoming game against PSG, so that maybe game could change my opinion. They're coming off a win against Clermont 2-0. Um, their best players currently are kind of Brian Bolo with 12 goals and Wilson Ben Yedder, who's always been a really consistent performer, who also has 12 goals. And they have Alexander Golovin, who's been really assisting with Caio Enrique. They have 13 assists together, so just they've been playing. I like the team that Monaco currently have. Not a lot of young talent. They have Vanderson, who's a pretty good defender. Minamino, who's been pretty solid, but he's up in age. Yusuf Fofana, 24. He's done enough. A pretty good midfielder. Then he had some good veterans like Volland, who played in the German league a lot for a lot of time. So they do have a good mix of talent, veteran and young. While I don't really know much about Leverkusen this season, do you have a little update on them?
So their top scorer is Musa Diaby, and with Jeremy Frimpong coming right behind them. And currently, they do have some fun facts I got for you. So Bayern Leverkusen they have not lost in their last two matches, but Monaco have not lost in 5 matches. So that's an interesting stat there. As far as the squad goes for Leverkusen, their team form, they at home. Well, yeah, they lost versus Augsburg. They lost versus Dortmund, but after that, they were on a really nice winning streak. They had 1-4-1 versus Zurich, 1-2-1 versus Venezia. When the league came back, they won versus Mönchengladbach. That was a big win. And they also won 2-0 versus Bochum. So this game, I think, is going to be really split. I'm not going to lie with you. I like Monaco a little bit better.
Yeah, Monaco definitely a little more complete team. Leverkusen mid-table currently in the Bundesliga when they should be up in this fight, where they should not be where they are. I like they have some young talent like Florian Wirtz, but he just hasn't been great. Adam Hojek has struggled. Just this team has not been where they should be. Um, where I don't know if it's managing, I don't know if it's the players not doing what their job of coming off against Augsburg. And then with them being at home to start out, give me a draw to start out the leg and then Monaco to finish it off at home.
Okay. So, yeah, for this one, Leverkusen, I think those last two losses is what really threw them off in the league because they were right up in it. They were really close to European competition in the Bundesliga. I'm going to go ahead and take the tie. Leverkusen versus Monaco. I'm going to go ahead. They draw 1-1.
All right.
But, all right. So we go over to Italy. We have Juventus versus Nantes. How do you feel about this one, Omar?
Juventus is probably they're going to kind of like we've talked about certain teams. They're putting all your eggs in one basket. The 15-point deduction that Juventus was hit with after all their hard work, it does pain them. So they're going to want to bounce back from that. Vlahovic has been their best player with 8 goals, 2 assists. Philip Kostic with 5 assists. Milik with another 6 goals. He's had a pretty good season, but a lot of struggles since kind of like the 15-point deduction. They lost Weston McKennie, who went on loan to Leeds. So I'm not sure how Juventus is going to line up. And in terms of Nantes, they have a pretty good goalkeeper that I really like from them, Lafont. He's had some insane saves over the past few seasons in terms of highlights. But I don't know how Nantes is going to really kind of put up. They're currently 13th place in League One, so I'm not sure how this is going to really go.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Juventus, they have been a little fluky, but as far as their team form, they've been doing pretty good. When you look at their recent matches, they won versus Salernitana. They beat Lazio, which that was a very close game, and Lazio not a bad team overall. They did lose versus Monza, and they tied versus Atalanta. But before that, they had beat Monza, and the only team they had lost to before after the World Cup was Napoli. So they've been in pretty decent form. They're more inconsistent. They're a more inconsistent team. Yes, I mean they're not league leaders by any means, and they did get hit with that point deduction. And there's just been some drama unloading there. I feel like they stumbled after that whole drama, and they're regaining themselves there. They're at home, man, and they do have some very interesting players. Dusan Vlahovic, he had rumors of possibly going to Real Madrid this past transfer window, and he's, in my opinion, one of the best forwards in all of Italy, and possibly one of the top 20 forwards in the world, in my opinion. Teamed up with Di Maria up there, they have Rabiot. They have guys. I mean, they have Chesney on goal. Chesney, who had an incredible World Cup as well. I feel like Juventus are getting back in form, and this is the perfect. They're going to be at home. This is a perfect game to make a statement. They're going after the Coppa Italia over in Italy, and if they can make a run here in the Champions League, I think they would be in a pretty good spot.
Europa League, but yeah, good spot.
Europa League. So, as far as predictions go, I'm gonna go with Juventus 1-0.
Okay, yeah, I kind of see that. They're not a big, high-scoring team, but they're always pretty good defensively. I'll agree with you on that. 1-0 for Juventus.
All right, and then moving on, we're kind of gonna run through these last ones. We have Sevilla versus PSV. What do you think of this one?
Sevilla, we kind of all really know how they've been really doing. They've really struggled in La Liga this season. They're kind of down in the dumps. They're not feeling themselves. As PSV currently fourth place in the Dutch league, the Eredivisie, currently on 39 points, and they had some pretty fun players. Xavi Simons, midfield kind of forward, 19 years old with 13 goal. Goal contributions, but the big loss for this team was losing Caddy Gakpo, who had 9 goals, 12 assists in the season, and we all know how he went to Liverpool. They're gonna really struggle. So maybe Sevilla, who are one of the kings of this competition, who continue to somehow find a way to do things. Maybe they can pull out a nice little win.
Yeah. So fun fact here: Sevilla are unbeaten in their last four home games.
There you go.
So matching up versus PSV, maybe they can pull something off. Sometimes Sevilla has been a disappointment in La Liga. You think, oh, they're gonna come in here, stink it up again. Sometimes these teams come out here, and when it's a different competition, it's like a mental reset, and they're able to go out there and perform at a higher level. I don't know what it is, but it just works.
Yeah, and they do have talent. I hopefully either they figure out to just put the right pieces together. And that includes starting Nessery. You have to start him.
Yeah, I mean the guy he showed he has the physical ability in the World Cup, and he can be an aerial threat. You have to use him. So yeah, as first predictions go, I'm gonna take Sevilla 3-1.
Yeah, at home, I think maybe it'll be a little closer game. Give me Sevilla 2-1.
All right. Okay, and then we come up to our final matchup of the week here in the Europa League. We have Sporting from Portugal going up against. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm probably gonna butcher the fuck out of this. Midtjylland from Denmark.
Yeah, a Danish team. Every time I see this team on FIFA or when I play my manager, my player career mode, I always just say Midgetland as a joke.
You're gonna get us canceled. Oh my
No,
god.
I'm sorry. No, it's okay. Anyway, they're having a time currently in the Danish league in seventh place. I don't know much about their players. I'm not going to pretend, but their currently top goal contributor is Andres Dreyer, who is 24 years of age from Denmark.
Yes,
So
sir.
he's 8 goals, 1 assist, having a pretty good season. And their main assister is Sori Kava from Guinea, I believe that is, with 4 assists. So not that bad, but of course you kind of expect Sporting Portuguese giant to take care of business.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Sporting, where Cristiano Ronaldo started. And I mean, Midtjylland here, they're really living up to those first three letters of their team name because they are currently seventh in the Super League over in Denmark. 5 wins, 8 draws, 4 losses. It just, it's a lot of mid with Midtjylland, and they're living up to it. They're living up to it. I think they're gonna come out here, and we're gonna see more of the same. They're gonna come out here and be pretty mid. I would take Sporting and put it in any of your parlays. That little extra booster to get your parlay from plus 485 to plus 500. You need that plus 15 points. I don't know what the odds are on this, but I got Sporting winning 3-0.
Yeah, it's pretty common. Yeah, I'm gonna take Sporting and Pedro Gonçalves, who's having a pretty good season, 10 goals, 5 assists at 24 years old. Give me Sporting 2-0.
All right. Okay, guys. And yeah, that was our predictions. That was Champions League and Europa League. We're going to do Conference League later just because we're thinking of doing it, but it's just a bunch of random teams right now that you guys don't really care about. So yeah, we're going to cover that later. Copa Libertadores is still in qualification, so we'll cover that later as well. And then after the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, all this shit happens this weekend, you're going to get the recap from us. If not Monday, Tuesday, so stay on the lookout for that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, subscribe here on YouTube, follow us on TikTok. You see the ads in the bottom left corner. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the Top Corner Podcast. Peace out.
See you later, boys.